Growing up, my parents were staunch Catholics. I wanted to be a nun. I just felt that the only thing I could do was to be a nun so that I'll be married to Jesus. One quotation changed my life, and that's, our lives begin to end the day we keep silent about things that matter. So that was what changed my life, and I then became born again in the struggle.
Dr. Jo Okei-Odumakin has lived most of her life as a fiery Nigerian activist. Courageous and bold, Odumakin has remained consistent without minding the challenges before her in a society where critical voices are muted by a system that rewards the corrupt and punishes those seeking justice. Currently, Jo is the president of the human rights group Women Arise for Change Initiative and the Campaign for Democracy. Described by renowned novelist Professor Wole Soyinka as a tireless fighter whose frail bearing bellies an inner strength and resilient purpose, a veteran of affirmative marches, Odumakin has remained on the streets fighting to create an enabling environment for the citizenry.
Growing up, my parents were staunch Catholics. I wanted to be a nun. And that was how I continued from secondary school, my A-levels. I got to University of Ilorin. I still wanted to be a nun. So one day, one very strict lecturer called my matriculation number that you see after the lectures. And then when writing our tests, we have to keep straight head. You must not move. So my friend asked me, Pauline, I said, did you turn your neck, Reverend Sister? I said, no. So I saw the lecturer, and the lecturer asked me why I was being called a Reverend Sister. I said, I wanted to be married to Jesus. He said, well, you scored very high marks on my test. And then I saw all the books on her shelf, Martin Luther King, so she picked out one and gave me to read. I read it. One quotation changed my life, and that's, our lives begin to end the day we keep silent about things that matter. So right from that time, I became the secretary, Women in Nigeria, and I told somebody to prepare my will. I had mattress and books, and that was how it continued.
An activist and human rights advocate for over 25 years, Jo Odumakin started her journey into activism in Kwara State, north-central Nigeria, with the organization Women in Nigeria WIN. The military rule of General Ibrahim Babangida brought her activism to the national platform, where she was amongst the frontline activists who marched in protest against the annulment of the June 12 presidential elections, which MKO Abiola was largely believed to have won. Few years later, she also protested against the assassination of Kudirat Abiola.
On June 12, we had election that produced the freest and the fairest and the most peaceful. It was annulled. MK Abiola, that won the mandate, was imprisoned. As a result of that, because we have had several military in power, after he was imprisoned, we then started a series of protests that there's no way in which our president-elect can be in prison. Even one of the protests on June 4, 1994, where more than 200 people were killed, I was shot on my leg. And in the place of shooting, thank God I escaped, although later on, I was detained for about 6 months. Unfortunately, we lost the man and the mandate. Even the wife, Kudirat Abiola, our heroine, she was also there at the forefront. We never knew that the military would kill her. She said she would pay with her blood. But one day, on June 4, 1996, Kudirat Abiola was shot on the head. We lost that heroine of all times. We'll never ever forget her. We engaged in series of protests, including going to paste poster of IBB, the person who annulled the election, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, go now, go, go, go. And I volunteered, went to the barracks to place my own posters. And I told those people around, stay at the back in case I'm shot dead. One did that because we fought so hard for democracy.
This led to her numerous arrests for no less than 17 times, spending months in detention without trial. It was during one of such detentions she met her husband, Yinka Odumakin, with whom they have 2 children.
In the dark days of the military, we met in a detention facility. First, we became friends. Then we got married in 1997. And since the time I met her up till now, her passion has not changed. She's an incredible woman. She organizes remembrance programs of all the matters of the struggle, like Okei-Abiola, Kudirat, Abiola, and the rest. And I often ask her, your parents are late. You have never gone out of your way one day to do any of these activities for them. She's not doing those things for all those people. She's doing it for the cause they lived for, what they died for. It's not very common in our climb for a woman to have that kind of passion, to get involved passionately in the struggle the way she did, suffering, battering, detentions here and there. And that really fascinated me. I admired what she was doing. I admired the commitment she brought into it, and the fact that we are people of like passion.
Okei-Odumakin, rescue the guys now!
Joe Odumakin's passion against injustice catapulted her to the center stage as she became a powerful voice in the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. The Bring Back Our Girls initiative is on the fight to return the schoolgirls abducted in northern Nigeria.
April 2014, we just woke up to realize that close to 300 girls were taken at Chibok Secondary School. 10 days after that, I issued a statement, rescue our girls now, because I believe that someone that is alive is the one that can be rescued. Pile maximum pressure on the government. Then the sad thing again, because I've always told people who think that if any of our soldiers die, it's none of their business. Why campaigning for the rescue of the Chibok girls? The news that some of our soldiers were running away because they did not have superior weapons. The tale that our soldiers are just being killed like chicken. The fear that one day we'll wake up and we'll find out that Boko Haram has killed all those confronting them. We then decided to pass maximum pressure on the government that they must be properly equipped, the soldiers. They must be insured. They are human beings, they have families, so they should also be properly insured.
Odumakin's activism cuts across national issues to individual Nigerians struggling with injustice.
The case of Juliana Agomo that was accused of stealing pepper, just pepper that fell off. They got hold of her, security men around, and so worrisome. Market women and everybody gathered. Her clothes was torn into shreds. Her younger sister that was there of about 14 years, Juliana Agomo was about 19, her younger sister 14. And after tearing her clothes, just because the people around her that it was pepper that she stole, they started going for dry pepper inside container. And they brought dry gin, poured it inside the pepper. While mixing it, they were telling her, tell the truth, you've been stealing. She said, no, she's not been stealing. Open your legs. If you don't open your legs, we'll force you. Seeing the way men, hefty men, took her legs. In fact, one of her legs was twisted, to the back, so that they would get the shape of her leg. Opening her leg, they started pouring that content, dry pepper with gin, pouring it inside her parts. And in the process, we just found out that all those that perpetrated the heinous acts, through all the efforts, through protests, through disguising, through combing the nook and crannies of that whole Ejibo, were able to get them. And getting them, they were taken to court. And through that, they were brought to book. And as we speak, the case is still in court. And I told Nike, that is in school, that she will get justice. The sister that is nowhere to be found now will also get justice. We just want to ensure that impunity that is on the rise will have no place in our society.
Her pursuit of democracy, good governance, and national development have been recognized and acknowledged locally and internationally, with a varying number of awards bestowed upon her. Standing out amongst them all is the 2013 United States Secretary of State's International Women of Courage Award, bestowed upon her by the U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama and the Secretary of State John Kerry. And of course, the National Merit Award given to her by Nigeria's President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Dr. Odumakin's drive for justice and a better Nigeria has never wavered, as she has stood her grounds over the years. She has been inspired, supported, and encouraged by several world-renowned icons in Nigeria and around the world. She has also impacted many people around her, both young and old, that they can be a better future for all Nigerians.
One time she said to us that what she wants to see is to see a poorer society, to see a Nigeria where every person's right is defended, where we are all equal and nobody tramples on any other person's right. And she's so passionate about that. In whatever she's doing, you see that coming out strong in all her activities, in whatever she's doing, on the field, in the trenches and all of that. And that is why she went to prison more than 18 times. She was bruised, she was shot, and she was never fatigued. She continued, and that shows passion, that shows commitment to what she believes in.
Dr. Okei-Odumakin that I know, she's an epitome of hard work and perseverance. She's a dogged fighter. And one thing I like about her, she's a great cook.
She's an activator. I don't call her activist, I call her activator. She wouldn't wait for an idea to sleep over. She activates it immediately. She doesn't wait for next morning. Whatever is boiling in her, like, we should do this, she doesn't wait till next morning. It is immediately.
Dr. Joe Odumakin remains a tireless force in the quest for justice and democracy.
My vision really is to see a Nigeria that works, a Nigeria where justice, fairness, and equity reigns, a country where rights are respected, where women are treated as equal, as partners, because beside every successful man is a woman, and also ensuring that we'll have a country where impunity will become a thing of the past.